Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. It is time for another round of Hoopsville. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Welcome in to the WBCA studios. I'm gonna be giving you a bunch of updates today if we can. Oh, hold on. A little adjustment in studio so you can see the chair in the back because I love showing off everything in the studio. You'll notice we are wearing some colors today. Just a reminder to all schools, coaches, whomever, we'll wear your garb if you send it to us, and it fits. That's both a reflection on myself and a reflection on some of you who actually send me some sizes I haven't been able to get into since college. I realize that might just be what you have on hand, and it may very well end up, whoa, my mic goes flying, might end up in the hands of my children at some juncture in time, because it'll fit them. And they love wearing that kind of stuff. So, nonetheless, get in touch with me. Also, if you'd like to put up a uniform in the background. You'll notice we haven't changed any since Monday. I think we're going to be doing it, at least at the start of this season, once a month, or once a week. We'll rotate all the jerseys, except for the framed ones. Maybe we'll get to every show. I do have plans with the wall of jerseys to make some adjustments so we can fit more in, as it were. I'm hoping we can get that accomplished soon, as things are still busy, but slowing down a smidge. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. You can join us on the socials. We're on X at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. You can also join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Hoopsville. More on that in a moment. We'll also are on Threads. Where else? Pretty much a lot of those sources. You can also donate to the show. At the bottom of your screen, you can see the information, plus a nice handy QR code, which will change sizes based on our segments. But head to buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. That's buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. I neglected to mention on Monday's show a big thank you to Ron for his contributions, and today we'll thank Eric for his contributions. Jump on there, we'll give you a thanks, but at the same time you get some extra perks, including live top 25 double take and availability to that before we release it to the public, so you get extra time to percolate on that. That next show is in just on a week and a half from now, the Monday before Thanksgiving. Nice little appetizer before Thanksgiving. Also, you'll get access to my top 25 ballot. Admittedly, Eric and Ron right now don't have access to it because I haven't gotten it finished publishing. I'll get that preseason top 25 out to them here in a toot bit this week. It's not going to have a lot of details to it because I can't talk about all 25 teams and get that published. So we'll get that out the door, though, to them soon. That's the only way you're going to see my top 25 ballot, to be honest with you. And there's other perks, including the Off Court podcast, which will be starting here in December, we hope. We'll be talking to a bunch of guests here in the near future is our plan, and then release that to the world, as they say. But it's not the entire world, because if you are not a member of Hoopsville, then you won't get it. If you haven't bought me a cup of coffee, you won't be doing it. And yes, a little unintended sponsor or advertising there from one of my favorite coffee shops in Maine. I'd love to see them advertise, but for now, it's when Dave forgets and grabs one of their mugs, and that's what we get for coffee. Lots to talk about today. Our guests, we'll get to those first before some news and notes. In order, as you can see on the board, Virginia Wesleyan men's basketball, Dave Macedo will join us. Johns Hopkins women's basketball coach, Rodney Rogan. I got tongue twisted there. Will join us. From Wisconsin Lutheran women's basketball. Can't believe we haven't had them on the show since 2022. We'll have Klay Knueppel on. And from Calvin men's basketball, Bill Saul. We always seem to talk to Calvin late in the season. I decided, why don't we talk to him a little earlier in the year this time? So we'll talk to Bill about the expectations for their squad and some of the big results all of them have had already. You know, Hopkins is out to one of the most prolific starts in program history, believe it or not. Also coming up on the show, we'll hear a little bit from Jim Haney on what he thinks is the biggest rule change to affect Division III. Hint, hint, it may not be what you're thinking about. We'll hear from Jim and let you know where you can hear more from Jim coming up in the program. In just a moment from now, we'll also hear from Pat Coleman, who interviews some people. He's out in New England this week, believe it or not, checking out some football games and some hoops. Congratulations to him on that. Kind of jealous, to be honest, to be able to spend a week taking in sights and sounds in one region. I think he's kicking himself for missing one particular game recently, but he's gotten to a few games, and that is something I know he's enjoying, and we're certainly jealous of. You can check out his exploits at d3hoops.com on the socials. Let's see here. Right, so you've got a hold of everything we have. One thing we didn't talk about on the show, last show, which was a screw-up on my part, we didn't talk about the women's coaching carousel. We talked about the men's at the beginning. We didn't touch on the women's. I had planned to talk about the women's later in the show, but the show got the best of me, and I just completely forgot. So let's breeze through many of the women's coaching changes this offseason that caught my attention. From Albright, Janice Luck departed. She had 315 wins in her 23 years at her alma mater, winning as head coach, replaced by a previous assistant, Alyssa Parsons, a previous assistant at Stevens, Alyssa Parsons. I hate to say it, I think Janice's departure, along with the football coaches in the offseason, is a sign of trouble there at Albright. If you don't know, Albright's in a bit of trouble. Quick side note, also coming out today, news and bad news for Wittenberg as their struggles continue. They've been placed on accredited on probation status by the Higher Learning Commission. Current enrollment is a smidge over 1,000 at Wittenberg. That is significant. Back to the coaching carousel that caught my attention. Jackie Hartzell left Arcadia. Michelle Philander left Austin College. Really, she didn't leave. She became the athletics director, I should say. So that opened up the job for Olivia Hunt, who was once a GA and then became full-time assistant there. Let's see, what else caught my attention this offseason? Jackie Smith leaving Connecticut College. Jackie went over to her alma mater, Hartford. There's a lot to unpack with that Hartford job. Polly Tomlinson was let go, as you probably remember, at the end of last season. I think we talked about it on Hoopsville. She landed at Randolph in Virginia. It might seem odd to you, but for Polly, it made sense for her. But that Hartford job's that one's up there. Men are doing well. Women were doing well. Polly was actually doing well. We'll see how Jackie Smith does there, but there's a lot to unpack with that job, and maybe sometime in another broadcast we can try and dive into all of that. Denise Beerley left Eastern Connecticut. That kind of piqued my interest. Mike Ricks left my alma mater for Fairbanks, and the men's assistant took over. I'm not saying there's all kinds of smart decisions taking place off of Delaney Valley Road. Howard Payne, Presley Fisk left. Rodney Gee took over. He was an assistant coach in Texas. I'm sorry, a head coach in high school at Texas. Mandy King left Kane. Keystone continues to lose coaches, which is no surprise considering their situation. Diane Decker left Lebanon Valley. Julia Dugan, who was an assistant at Christopher Newport, took over. Let's see here. I'm just going through this alphabetically. I'm not going it in order. Oh, yeah. Hoyle Wesley and Stacy Lobdell left. She went down to D1 North Florida. I talked to Coach. It's personal reasons, family reasons. Certainly makes sense when you talk to him from that perspective. Cody Hartzler, assistant coach at Baldwin Wallace, takes over at Ohio Wesley. I think they're still going to be good. Got one of the players to watch in Division III, in all honesty. Again, we're going Mike DeVev. I cannot speak. Mike McDevitt left St. Joe's, Maine after 667 wins and 19 conference titles, 14 national tournament appearances between the NAIA and Division III. Never had a losing season in his 33 years there at St. Joe's. Christopher Woodside, who was an assistant there, takes over the program. That one will be one to watch. Jimmy Petruska left St. Vincent. Cam Gisendonner took over. She was the head coach at La Roche. we'll see how Cam does there at St. Vincent. That's an interesting move. I don't know if it's lateral. I think it might be upward, but some might look at it as lateral. St. Vincent seems to be struggling a little bit in general as an institution. Can't figure out where they want to be. They've been bouncing around a little bit. Very itchy over there. Let's see. I'm just going through this alphabetically. Oh, yeah, of course. Jill Pace left Tufts. Of course. Meredith Maceras, the head coach at Vassar, took over at Tufts very late in the process. Tufts really dragged their feet on that hire, in my opinion. Pace left that job. I'm trying to remember where Jill went to be completely honest. Bear with me a second. Accepting a job outside of coaching was what the release said. I forgot where Jill went. I do remember. But that was kind of surprising considering her success there. And then the hire from the Vassar head coach. It's really interesting. And again, dragged their heels. Michelle Davis left Utica. We mentioned Meredith leaving Vassar. The assistant at Rochester, Carly Esseman, took over at Vassar. I hope you said the name right. Betsy Whitman retired. I think we mentioned that on the end of last season. Katie Kilpatrick, her assistant, took over, and that kind of rounds out things. So not as many bangs on the women's side as there were on the men's, but still a few. Basketball is underway. We've already had some incredible outcomes. Hats off to Mary Washington. Played a really tough Rowan squad at home. That game was tied, went to overtime. They won 13-6 in OT. Did the 15th ranked Eagles. Both teams shot incredible. Rowan shot 48.5% from the floor. Mary Washington shot 53%. Rowan out-rebounded Mary Washington 46-35. Both teams handed out a whole mess of assists, which means I might want to talk to Clint often. I'm just kidding. But Rowan had 20 assists to 17 turnovers. Mary Washington, 17 assists to just 6 turnovers in 45 minutes of play, which interesting. Though points off turnovers is interesting too because so few turnovers. Mary Washington 6. Rowan only turned them into 8 points. Mary Washington took those 17 turnovers, turned them into 20 points. But interestingly enough, Rowan won the second chance points 20-7. But huge game. But also a huge game on Wednesday night was Grinnell and Greenville. And I only mention it because of the score. 150-120. Both system teams have played before, but I don't remember the score getting that high. So they went at it and went at it well. Also up in New England, we mentioned Pat was up there. Well, he dropped by Riviere when they took on Johnson and Wales earlier today. At Johnson and Wales, I should say. They were at Johnson and Wales in Rhode Island. They've since beaten Nichols, but this is Pat Coleman talking to the crew at Nichols Riviere about their win over Johnson and Wales.
Out here in Providence, Rhode Island, after a game on one of the first nights of the Division III men's basketball season. And we're talking with Riviere. They defeated Johnson and Wales here by the score of 85-57. Tom Glenn, the head coach. Robinson Begidi, a senior guard. Coach, first off, great performance tonight. What worked for you guys tonight that wasn't working for you guys earlier in the season with your one counting game so far?
Sure. We got back to the basics tonight. His message yesterday in practice was to really focus on us, get back to all the small details, and our guards, led by Rob, really stepped up tonight. Rob, Steph Barnes, Theo Briscoe. The kids were great tonight.
Rob, let me talk to you about that. 15 points, 7 assists, and you are a guy who's been in this program a long time. You're a 4-year starter. Just tell me about how this program has grown, because if I do my math correctly, if you've been here for 4 years, then you were here before Coach was.
Yeah, when Coach came in, it was a really big turnaround. It really brought the spark back to the university. And it was a huge turnaround, biggest turnaround in the country. And it means a lot to me because this is could be my last chance playing. And me and Joe Melvin, the only ones that have been here 4 years. So it's great to see that progress and be competitive in the GNAC.
Tell me about some of the new guys. For example, Theo Briscoe IV, I know he's a transfer from a 2-year school in California, and he had a big night, 25 points, 7 of 13 from beyond the arc. What kind of things has he done for you guys so far?
He spaces the floor pretty well. When I'm driving in and attracting a lot of attention, when I'm kicking to him, I know he's going to shoot that, and I know he's going to hit it. And if he's confident, he's really dangerous. So I like the way he plays.
Coach, I got to ask you about Briscoe. Obviously, he did have a great night, and then he got teed up, and then you had to sit him, or you decide, up to you whether you had to sit him. You decide to sit him the rest of the game, but just tell me about him in general first off.
Yeah, Theo's a great player, but we met about that actually yesterday, and we showed some clips and examples of other games around the country, and the message was we don't do that here. And so he had to learn a tough lesson, but he's a great player. He's going to have a great season, and it was just really setting the tone for the season.
What I didn't get, because it wasn't big, it wasn't demonstrative, it wasn't loud, it wasn't, one of the words you can't say on television. What was the violation?
I think he was just yelling back at a player after a whistle. I actually didn't get the full explanation, but I was just trying to just making a point of the whole situation.
I suppose when you're up by 30, it doesn't matter so much, right?
Right. I have a ton of respect for Johnson and Wales and Coach Benton and his program. They were in our league for a long time and coached against him back when I was head coach at Rhode Island College. So a ton of respect for them, and us being up like that, I just wasn't right.
What are the next kind of steps you want to see these guys make here as you get through the rest of your non-conference schedule?
Sure, trying to make a jump as a program. Our first year, we had a great year together. We finished 8th and lost a tough one to St. Joe's. Last year, we made another jump, finished 6th in the conference, and lost to St. Joe's again.
Those guys are pretty good.
They're good. Yeah. They're good. So I've been telling people we're probably going to play them again, and hopefully it's going to be in round 2 in the semifinals, or us the better seed. But we got to get better playing a tough non-conference schedule this year. And we're just trying to make a jump and get better every week.
Rob, let me ask, just as a guy who's been at Rivier, your whole career, what's the college like? Tell us a little bit about Rivier College. Is it even Rivier University?
Rivier University.
I am so sorry. These things change on me.
Yeah. A lot of athletes support each other. You see other baseball, soccer kids in class. I went to the GNAC championship. Both of our soccer teams were there. So everyone supports each other. And it's a small school, but everyone knows each other, and we try to support each other as much as possible.
What can you add to that?
Oh, it's a great place. Unbelievable community, supportive community, friendly people. The athletic department is just phenomenal. All the teams support each other. No, Rob said that, but that gets me the most, is the support amongst the campus community.
Who's up next for you guys?
We got Nichols on Wednesday.
All right, tell me about what you know about Nichols this year. Knowing that you have just turned the page to this in the last 10 minutes.
Sure, gonna start them tomorrow morning, but they got a couple really good guards. They return a lot. Coach Huntley does a really good job. I know them well. But
sure.
Yeah, we got to do a really good job. Tough place to play, but we'll be ready.
All right, so that is Tom Glynn and Rob Bagidi, the coach and senior guard for Rivier. They won 85-57 against Johnson and Wales here on Monday night.
Great to hear Pat Coleman here on the show. He posted that on the socials as well. Great to hear from different programs while he's out there. So we pillaged that one from the Rivier team. Again, they are 2-1 on the season. They got Colby coming up. Let's see, on Saturday, they just beat Nichols, as we mentioned, 82-68. Remember, that's a Nichols team that over the years has been in the conversation in the NCAA, though last year fell to 13-13 as they got stuck in this weird, are they going to D2 world, I think. We'll talk more about that. They also had a coaching change. I think we'll talk more about that later in December, about these schools like Utica and Nichols that have thought about going to D2, those who have, but more importantly, just what's the impact of that. So Rivier 2-1. Got Colby coming up, New England, Salve, Virginia, then Hartford and Plymouth State. All this month, we should point out. Those next 5 will all be played in a span of 10, 11 days. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we jump out and go reel in a Marlin. Virginia Wesleyan men's basketball coach Dave Macedo will join us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about his squad. Off to a pretty solid start. Had a great tournament at their place. Also talk about his tenure and the race in the ODAC. Lots to break down. Here ahead on Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's nabc.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
For the love of the game, but for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Sorry for the pause there, folks. I lost track of the system. I was trying to run another break there, and it rolled out. And, well, we had pregnant pause there, and you got a nice little graphic of me. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Thanks for joining us on Hoopsville on this noon. Reminder, we're going to be at noon pretty much every show this season of the regular variety, the twice weekly 2-hour Monday through Thursday. Next Thursday, we won't be on the air due to a scheduling conflict on my part. There might be 1 or 2 other shows the entire season we have to shift. But for the most part, we're noon now, Mainly because coaches tell me they love listening to me during there, and I like to boost the ego a little bit. If the coaches are in the office and they want to listen to the show, we'll do that. But at the same time, just fits the schedule a little bit better. If you want to interact with us, do so on the socials at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville on the X. We're on Instagram there as well. We're also on Threads. We're also on Facebook.com/Hoopsville. At the end of the show, we're going to tell you why we did a little something different with the stream today as we test some things out. We hope the audio issues we've been having in terms of audio sync have been solved as a result of that. If they're not, let us know in the stream. Let's head out to our first guest. We go down to the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, which I have a feeling we're going to be talking to a bit this year, both on the men's and women's side. Virginia Wesleyan, I decided we got to talk to them now because otherwise, nothing against the Marlins, we're going to get buried in ODAC play and we're going to have a tough time choosing who we want to talk to. It's easy to pick Randolph-Macon, nothing against Josh Merkel. We can wait to talk to him. Roanoke and Klay Knueppel is going to be an interesting conversation. We always have talked to Caleb Kimbrough at Hampton-Sydney, but it's been a while since we chatted with my friend Dave Macedo. He's my friend because he's Dave from Virginia Wesleyan. And joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about the team's absolutely tremendous start to the season will be the aforementioned, as soon as I get him into the system, because I just totally forgot to do that. To talk about their really good hot start to the season is the aforementioned Dave Macedo. And joining us there on a camera change is Mr. Macedo from the Marlins. Hey, it's great to see you.
Same, my friend, same. Always good to hear your voice.
Sorry, folks, just realized we muted ourselves there by accident. I clicked the wrong thing. Dave Macedo joining us. We'll talk. Quick comment. He just was commenting kindly about how tough the ODAC is and how tough the season is and the tip-off tournament, which I want to get to. Everything you mentioned, I was going to get to in pieces, so let's go with it. I'm going to start with the ODAC. We've always known it to be tough, Dave, but I think in some ways it's gotten tougher than maybe it's ever been. The top, obviously Randolph-Macon won a national championship. Hampton-Sydney's back in the conversation thanks to Caleb Kimbrough. Guilford was tough the last few years. You guys have resurged. Clay's brought Roanoke into the conversation. And that doesn't even talk about the middle group who can play spoiler on any night, and you can't overlook the bottom. This is just a jam-packed conference, and we'll talk about how you started the season to add to that misery. But what's this conference been like in your 26 years of seeing it evolve?
Yeah, I would say when I came in the league, I was obviously the young buck. There was some established programs, established, coaches, some great traditions, and Virginia Wesleyan was very good. They've always been very solid. But then I think there was probably a little separation at the top, at first, the upper echelon. And, there wasn't enough parity in the middle, and maybe it was a little top heavy, I'll just say.
Yeah.
But then throughout the years, I just feel like it's just gotten stronger and stronger. The bottom programs have come up. There's been new coaches, tons of coaches getting after it and working. Just a lot of higher level players, and everyone plays a unique brand. So I think from top to bottom, we've got 12 teams right now. I think, every night the travel, it's pretty extensive for us, but you can just have to go into the gym, be ready, and make sure that you're prepared. and your guys understand, how the importance of each game, but just what it's going to take to get the job done against another ODAC foe. They know you. They've scouted you. They're more familiar with your brand. Coaches do their homework, and I just think, you got to come to play. It's a credit to all the ODAC coaches and all the players. It's very unforgiving, like I said. And I'd be lying if I said, I would want maybe a few nights off, but there's no nights off. It's just the ultimate grind.
Yeah, I mean, you don't play the same style as Merkel. Merkel doesn't play the same style as Kimbrough. Kimbrough definitely doesn't play the same style as Nunley. Nunley doesn't play the same style as McHugh. And I can go through the list, and none of you repeat. It's fascinating. I'm probably saying this a little off the cuff, but I think in the CCIW and WIAC, I at least see some similar styles out there. Granted, everybody still plays something different. I don't want to overlook that. Again, you guys won a national championship, nearly had back-to-back championships with one of my favorite players, Tuntum Balinga. One of my favorite names to say. Randolph Mankins won titles. Other teams have been in the conference. Guilford's been in the conference. Like, this isn't, as you said, the top's always been good. It's the depth. And what's interesting is you then start this season with a banger of a tip-off tournament. First off, you schedule Hampton-Sydney. Kudos to you, because you're only playing them once this year, so it gets you a chance at maybe a second time if the stars align, as it were. But then you bring in Keene State and Wisconsin lacrosse. What was the mentality? Because you had to have known when you put this together that you were bringing in top 25 teams. There was no slouch here.
No. I mean, we're not afraid to play anyone. I think the way it works now, you have to have quality wins, and your strength of schedule is so important. But right out of the gates, I think it's a good measuring stick for us to see where we stand, what we need to get better at, and it provided that. There's a lot of lessons learned this week and a lot of growth to be done. Sydney's going to be really good. They're going to play, they're really big. They're going to play a physical style. They're going to do what they do well. Wisconsin lacrosse is. Well, it's like a lot of Wisconsin teams, gap defense, physical, tough, all-American guards, shoot it well, bigs that can, make variety of moves and plays. And then Keene State, very athletic, still learning a lot about his team, but have some pieces and a transfer from the ODAC and, Koopa, who came from Bridgewater, who really hurt us. So it was a great test out of the gates. I'm upset that we let, an opportunity get away from us, because I didn't think we played a great game versus Wisconsin lacrosse. But again, there's a lot to be learned from that, and watching the film with the guys, you can certainly, see some good things, but some things that we definitely got to be better at with our own brand.
I mean, you guys got a strong win over Keene State by 3. Lacrosse gets an overtime win by 2 over Hampton-Sydney, and you beat lacrosse by 3, and Keene State beat Hampton-Sydney in the only game, lost to Hampton-Sydney in the only game that got away, 79-61, really competitive. You talk about strong schedules and all that. Obviously, playing Hampton-Sydney potentially helps you for later on. Seeing Hampton-Sydney certainly helps you for playing later on. How do those two teams in Keene State and lacrosse help you for the ODAC play?
Yeah, I think they're both going to do very well in their respective conferences and with their non-conference schedule, right? So they're going to have a high NPI when it's all said and done. They're going to get better as a team. They're still figuring things out as well. I think Wisconsin lacrosse probably has some veterans and a veteran group that, the coach does a great job, knows what he wants to do. And I think they'll be there when it's all said and done in the NCAA tournament. And I think Keene State's going to be so athletic for their league. So I think it helps us to play different styles to get that out of the gates. But again, I feel like the Marlins still have a long way to go, and it was a really good learning curve, especially for some of our new guys, and just trying to get a few more guys to contribute in a tournament atmosphere like that.
Talk to me a little bit about this team, and I'll warn people now. I'm probably going to screw up one of these names. You got a good core of returners coming back, including your 2 top guys, Amari DeVoe. Okay.
DeVoe.
Yeah, DeVoe. Yeah, I added a syllable.
You all good.
Amari Moore, both guys. DeVoe's at 23, almost 24 points a game at this juncture. It's 3 games into the season. 19 points a game for more. But you've got other guys I know that are part of it. Obviously, it starts with those two. But
yeah,
when I watch games, those two aren't the only ones that jump out at me. So give me a sense of those two and what they bring to the table. But then how everybody else complement.
Well, they're both great kids, first of all, great leaders, and just guys I've thoroughly enjoyed coaching. Omari's in his 5th year for us. We tore his ACL his junior year, came back, and elected to get his master's this year. We're so excited to have him back. And then YB, as we call him, he is, he's just gotten better every year. Gotten better, but really works on his game. So they're both playing with a very high level of confidence right now. They're both very skilled. They play to their strengths. I would say that. They both can score the ball. This weekend we saw it. It was evident. They can both score the ball. We're just asking them to be the best, two-way players and get everyone else involved as best they can, be the best leaders, and be everyday guys, right? Be consistent, not have any nights off when we play other really good teams, and we play ODAC teams, especially on the road. That's going to be a challenge. Teams will do their homework. But I think that they've certainly, saved their best for last. They can make plays. We ask them to do a lot of things, and we ask them to, do it when they have the ball in their hands a lot of times, right? They're our go-to guys. Now we need the rest of our cast to really emerge and be consistent contributors to go with that, because I feel like they're two weapons that we've had, and that's our makeup. Those are two anchors, and now we just need a lot of other guys, kind of getting better from here on out. I thought we missed a little production from some guys, some key guys this weekend, and then we just didn't have a great defensive, 40 minutes in each game. I feel like we got to be much better with our own brand of basketball defensively, which is, athleticism, versatility, pressure, what we do.
Talk to me about your career. 26 seasons, or you're in your 26th season. You've got 513 wins, 512 wins, 192 losses. You've had 13 20-plus win seasons. You've had no losing records. I'm throwing out the COVID year. That was 3-5. We're not going to count that. Just out of fairness, let's be blunt.
Yeah. It's all good.
55 seasons. You're the one who's been there half the time. You're the winningest coach in ODAC history, in whether retired or not or active. You're synonymous with this program. What's the evolution been like? Which is a weird question to ask you, because you came out of the gate with back-to-back 16-win seasons. It's not like you guys have had to evolve, but how has things changed in your time there?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's flown by, right? When I got the opportunity to be the head coach, the program was on a solid foundation as it was. Coach Butterfield had done a really good job, and the alums that have come through. And we've just tried to build off that, right? We've tried to get better. Little by little, we've gotten higher level players. We've gotten some better players. We've added more depth. But when your fingerprints are all over a program, you just fall in love with your job. And I've loved who I worked for. I loved watching the Baton Center be packed. And I love the rivalries that we've built. We've kind of been able to recruit Virginia, through and through, and just kind of hopefully, keep that momentum going. I feel like we got a lot left in the tank. I'm 52 now, Dave. When I came in the league, I was the youngest guy. Now I'm getting to be the older guy. I got 2 assistants, 2 former players that are head coaches in the league. And every time I look around, there's another new coach in our league that's a young former ODAC player, right? So the ODAC is well known. There's a ton of pride throughout Virginia. I think Virginia basketball at Division III level has never been so good. And it's just, it's great to be part of it all. I love the competition. You kind of become addicted to success. And hopefully, we can stay healthy and keep this train moving in the right direction.
The fact you say you're 52 cringes for me, because I'm about to hit a similar milestone. And I'm now realizing, A, how young you were when you took over the program. That's the first thing that stands out to me. Second, how long we've known each other. And I've always had you a little further ahead of me So that makes me cringe realizing I'm not as young as I thought I was. And third, though, Dave, it does say about how much Virginia Wesleyan has trusted you, how much you've enjoyed being in that area, and what you've done with that program, because a lot of coaches in your shoes would maybe have jumped to 2 or 3 other jobs by this juncture.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of coaches, a lot of great friends that have used this as a stepping stone and taken some high-level jobs. For me, that just wasn't my calling. I've never really wanted to be anywhere else. I've loved Division III basketball. I loved our brand. I love building our brand, and I've loved getting the players we were able to recruit and the student athletes we were able to coach and mentor and build relationships with. My family, all they ever known is Virginia Beach. I've raised 3 great kids, and I love coming to work every day. I mean, this is my passion. I don't do anything else. I know you hear coaches say that all the time, but I really don't have any other hobbies. I don't do anything else. It's my family and basketball, and the only gear I've ever worn is Marlin gear. And so it'd be tough to be separated from that, or not being part of this program. I know that one day, and I'm on the tail end now. So one day, that there's going to come a point in time, and I hope we leave the program in great hands, and I'll always be a fan. But certainly we got a lot of work left to do, and I'm just enjoying the journey. It is a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle when you're a basketball coach, right? You kind of go as the calendar goes. You have your routines during the day, during the season, out of season. So I think my family's given me the opportunity to really chase my passion.
Well, they're going to break one of your routines. You're going to have to start understanding how to say a different name. You're probably already doing that in the recruiting spiels. The school announced in late August that they're renaming from Virginia Wesleyan to Batten University in honor of trustee emerita Jane Batten, as one who actually toured Virginia Wesleyan when looking at colleges, and loves the Wesleyan name. For my father, because he went to the original Wesleyan. This is kind of bittersweet. How are you getting adjusted to this? Because it's going to take a while before I can say Batten University.
Yeah, same here. I mean, right? It's been here 28 years. It's just going to take time, right? This is our brand. This is what we've helped build. This is, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, right? So it'll just take time. We're not there yet. I think we got to July. So, I haven't really thought about that too much. So, but we're always going to be Marlins, and nothing's going to change with my program and how we do things and our tradition and our relationships. So, I control what I control, and that's it. I'm excited about the future. I always have been. And, we'll go from there. But it'll just take time.
Now, we should point out, by the way, you do play in the Jane Batten Center, so it's not a completely foreign name to the athletics department in any way. Of course, it's also called the Fish Tank. Hey, Dave, do you still have the tank outside of the doors, by the way?
We do, yes.
One of the best features in a gym, anybody. Get into the Batten Center. There is a tank of Marlins. It's awesome. One of my favorite things. Dave, I could talk to you forever. Maybe we'll get you on an off-court podcast in the future, because I'd love to dive into some rabbit holes with you. But we got to go, and I know I got to let you go. I appreciate the time. We should point out, got the win over Newport News Apprentice, 91-63 last night. You'll play Regent coming up here in 2 weeks. Jeez, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Before getting back into
we got
the
a
mix.
little break in the action here.
Right? I mean, talk about a break, but then you'll go to Christopher Newport to wrap up the month with Pfeiffer and Dickinson. But lots ahead, obviously. Conference play is around the corner. And so I know you got a lot to get to. Again, we'll dive into a rabbit hole. I'm sure we'll have you guys on again in the near future. As always, though, we give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
No, thank you for always bringing some attention to what we do, and the Division III student athlete, Dave. You guys do a great job. I'm huge fans. I value our relationship, and just keep an eye on the ODEC. Again, every year I know they're knocking on doors, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's another deep run for a lot of teams, and hopefully the Marlins, you'll see them down the road in March.
I agree with you. I've already seen Randolph Macon in person, and I've seen what you've done on video. This conference looks scary this year. Take care and enjoy it at least, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, guys. Yep.
Take care. Dave Macedo joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Always fun to catch up with Dave. Great to see him. I can't believe he's been there 26 years. Mind-blowing to me. We will switch gears in that department hardcore coming up because we're going to go to Baltimore, head down the street, talk to women's basketball coach Rodney Rogan. He's in his third year. Yeah, a little bit different than 26, but still, they're out to one of the most prolific starts in program history. We'll talk to him about it and why they may be banned from ever returning to Iowa. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Back with more after this.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's nabc.com or NABC1927 on social media.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% would go pro. That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh from the WBCA studios. We're going down the tote board. Virginia Wesleyan done. Johns Hopkins is up next. If you've got any questions for us, email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. You can also send us a tweet at D3 Hoopsville, or use the hashtag Hoopsville. I promise to check those things periodically throughout the show. Join us on our live stream. We're up on YouTube. We're not on Hudl today for a few reasons that are technical in nature. So we've got that up on the board. So if you're there, join us. We'd love to hear from you. And so on and so forth. So there you go. Heading to Baltimore, meaning I'm heading down the street. I could have driven 15 minutes and done this live in person if we had the technology capabilities of doing it. To talk to our next guest who, the Cats, listen, here's a problem. You go out to Iowa, and you decide you're going to go play some really tough teams out in Iowa, starting with the host Luther, who, by the way, I'm not sure Luther was smart on who they picked to play on their side of the ledger. And you come out of that with 2 wins and they're hard fought. Yeah, hats off to you, right? Come out of 2 wins and you dominated everybody, including Wartburg. You might have played your hand and revealed what you got a little too early. I say that all in good fun. It's certainly not a knock on anybody. But wow, Johns Hopkins came out and absolutely smoked everybody in Iowa. They may not be allowed to return to Iowa. Joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about it is Rodney Rogan of the currently 8th-ranked Blue Jay. 2 wins against Luther, 95-60, and Wartburg, 70-49. Did you guys not get the memo? Treat your host kindly.
We just our players are really excited about the season.
Apparently.
New team, new roles, and then they obviously love to play basketball and play with each other. So we were fortunate to go there, have an opportunity to bond as a team, and make some shots. And I think you feel good about that moving forward. You're always nervous anytime, any game, but anytime there's a new team. But definitely proud of that effort early on.
Made some shots. I'm just going to check here real quick. Shot 44% in the first game, 9-25 from beyond the arc, and because it was a blowout, I think you played everybody. And then against Wartburg, again, one of the comments from our group in a Slack channel was the broadcasters were talking about the great resume Wartburg's head coach, because this was just weird. We wouldn't normally talk about anything, but you shot a little poor at 37.7%. I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek. You shot the exact same 9 for 25 from beyond the arc. You say new team. You do have some pieces back that are certainly integral with this squad and what works so well for them. But I guess starting with what do you feel is new?
I think you had definitely some defensive identity and folks who played a lot of minutes over their career here. Greta Miller, Michaela O'Neal, and Jaden, who have been starting and playing a lot. Greta was an all-region player. Michaela was as well. And so, it looks a lot different just based on, who you're starting and the length and the things that they do. So I think when it's a new team in the sense that, different leadership roles, with Lauren in there in the starting lineup and Grace, they're folks who do a good job of stretching the floor. And then obviously I think we can be really deep. So I think the new team in the sense that, yes, we have some Macy, Kendall, those returning starters, but it's people who are definitely in new roles. So it feels pretty new to me in that regard.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely. Again, you've got pieces that are back that are familiar. And already making an impact. Layla Henderson's a junior this year. She's averaging out of the gate. Here's what actually is interesting. She's averaging 10 points a game. Knudson's averaging 9.3. O'Donnell's averaging 8.5. Feldman 8. Goldstein 8. Williamson 8. And then there's a bunch of players at 7 and 6. What I find interesting is you have dominated teams. You've gotten a chance to play a lot of extra players who get these extra minutes. And so you kind of have a very balanced looking roster right now. But in the grand scheme of things, as you get further into the season, are you going to have certain players that are probably be a little bit above, or is this going to be this kind of balanced look the whole year?
I think we're going to be pretty balanced. I think we have a lot of folks who can step up and excel in their roles. We have some folks who we were expecting to come in and be able to make shots. We have some folks who we were expecting to maybe be able to create off the dribble and do that. And so, and the folks who are going to kind of get those offense rebounds, all those kinds of points. But, we'll certainly have the ball with, Macy and Kendall there, definitely are playmakers. I think Faith Williamson off the bench would do that, and then Layla Henderson as well. So I definitely think we have good depth that we want to explore. And we have some folks who are capable of definitely going off, but I anticipate it being a pretty balanced approach. We're going to ride kind of the hot hand and also allow those folks to kind of excel in their roles. So it's interesting, but I think I really like that style of knowing that if you're in there for us, everyone who's in the game has to be a threat. There's no one that we expect you to not guard, even if you might not be the best 3-point shooter, but you're going to be aggressive within what we do. So that's kind of how I see that balance playing out.
So you played Trinity on Tuesday, and we're talking Trinity, D.C., not Trinity, Connecticut, not Trinity, Texas, which would have been very different conversations. You got the win 102-25. The only reason I point that out is you've now scored 267 points through 3 games, besting the team mark of 256 set way back in 97. 31 assists ties the program lead. Or you had 31 assists in that game. That tied the record you had in Dickinson in 90. Yes, it was Trinity. We're going to understand that. But again, still prolific, because you got to consider the 2 games you played out in Iowa. 95 points against Luther is no joke. But when you now head towards Catholic coming up in 2 days, and Christopher Newport the following day, both games in Bridgewater, then you got York, then you've got conference play. And by the way, Trinity, Connecticut is lurking on the back end of December, along with William Patterson and Rowan. What do we make of this start, and can it translate the rest of the way, or are you concerned about big bang at the start, and that is hard to maintain?
I think, you hear it all the time, but it's truly kind of like one day at a time, one game at a time. There's a lot of things that we have to work on. I think what we do defensively looks different from how we've done it in the past, just because, that personnel. So we still want to be able to apply pressure, but, that will look differently. We obviously need to be able to handle pressure. And, with 2 senior point guards in there, you feel good about that. But that Catholic likes to play with pace. Christopher Newport does too with their pressure. So I think we know we have to work on a lot of things. I think we can be better with our offensive flow for sure, and make sure we're highlighting the folks and their strengths. So it's so early, and I feel good that we're able to learn lessons in games that we've won versus the other way around. But we're definitely looking to improve in a lot of different areas. And I think with the teams that we're playing and the coaches that we're going against, there's no time to really relax. I think you have to be steady in your approach and the things that you want to work on. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of things that we want to get better at.
Again, you'll start conference play with Washington College and then Bryn Mawr, and nothing against Bryn Mawr. They haven't won a conference game since February of 08. Yeah, I said that, February of 08. So Washington was middle of the pack last year, maybe under what I expect. I don't know how to read into Washington. So you don't get the behemoths necessarily. You will get them when you get into conference play. Gettysburg is on January 10th. And you will play a double round robin with them in this funky schedule that the Centennial has.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, talk about just messing that up. And I'm not saying double round robin was a solution, but there's other solutions.
I agree.
What do you expect from this conference? Because Gettysburg comes in having lost more than people realized. Arnoli's not back. There was talk their other guard, A.B. Holsinger, wasn't going to be back. That ended up being proven true. Obviously, they lost their best player last year, and she's not returning at all. So they're kind of a retweak team, but it's still a Nate Davis squad, right? But so even with that in mind, I don't see how it's more than the 2-horse race How do you see this conference shaping out this year?
I think for the most part, those games are always going to be, pretty competitive. I think, Gettysburg has obviously been just dominating our league. And so regardless of who's back or not back, you always expect that to be a tough matchup because they play so hard, they're so well coached, and those players are skilled too. I mean, I think you look at some of those folks who have come in and been really big in the games that we played, even if they weren't the first option. So you don't rest there. And then McDaniel has a lot returning, and
That's true.
Their offensive flow, I even last year talking to them, I was like, I really love what they do offensively.
Yeah, I do.
And they have some good length, and they have some players who are proven scorers. So we played a really tough game with them here last year. And so that's a team that, I definitely don't relax against because I think they have great offensive flow. Anytime, we're going against with Bobby, obviously they lost Chinwe, but like she's a great coach as well. And Wash College, they defend like crazy. Those games are going to be so tough to score. You have to make shots against them with the way that they protect inside. So I really like the coaches in our conference because I think they prepare their teams well. That's why I think last year with us in Gettysburg, both in the top 16, a lot of that was because of the way our conference coaches and teams performed out of conference. So I can't, you don't relax. I think that we've been fortunate to be near the top of our conference, definitely these last few years. But I think the coaches and the teams are growing. Everyone's going to be, it's new for a lot of people. So I anticipate people stepping up and not being able to kind of relax throughout our conference play.
I thank you for bringing up McDaniel because you got a great point there. WBCA coaches actually had him in the receiving votes category for the top 25. She's defensively too a little bit of a mad scientist. There's one defense in particular, and I haven't been able to be around the team as much as I used to be, that I love. And I can't describe very well. And she always said, once I get the one players I want, I can't wait to utilize this more. So I'll be fascinated to see if that starts showing up a little bit more. But you say Gettysburg's dominated the conference. Okay, yes and no. No, because you've had a total of 2 losses in conference the last 2 seasons. Yes, to Gettysburg, but you've knocked them off too. Except in the conference title game. And Rodney, this dates back further than you, but Hopkins does not have a great history in the, and I'm asking this because we might not get a chance to talk to you for long parts of the season. Hopkins does not have a great history in conference title games, and I don't want to say it's like 14 straight or something wild like that, but I know it's ridiculously long when I put my notes on it last time, and I don't have them in front of me. There just seems to be a kryptonite there. Is that going to have to be your bellwether? Because you have performed well most seasons, done well in the NCAA tournament despite not winning the conference title. But is that like the thing that is in everybody's craw and you've got to get solved?
I think you obviously you want to win. You go in those games feeling good about your chances because you're in the conference championship game against a team that you split with in the regular season. And obviously, like you said, it goes back further than me. So there's something weird in the air when it comes to those conference championships.
Goes way back before you, Rodney.
Yeah. So there's something weird, and if we're fortunate to be there, then maybe you look at approaching it differently. Maybe we talk about it now, but then you're putting the cart before the horse. So
sure.
I think if we're fortunate to be there, you throw it out, you see what happens. Like last year I thought we started off pretty hot in that game, and then came back down, and then lost it in overtime. So I think it's a steady approach about building the confidence throughout the year through these matchups and being in those tough moments and trying to make sure we're confident and putting our best foot forward. But it is kind of a weird thing that we've kind of dealt with, I guess, as a program. So looking forward to just continued success and playing hard throughout the season, and we'll take each game as it comes.
I was checking. Okay, it's not 14 straight. It's 15 overall, but unfortunately it's 12 straight. Never in this. The last win was 2000. I was double checking something else. And it's 4 straight. it's 4 straight. Of course, all of them to Gettysburg. Those last 4 are all to Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's been you two at the top. Yeah, we're putting the cart again ahead of the horse, but I may not get a chance to really go in depth with you on it before that point. So I was kind of curious about it because I can also imagine in the offseason, Rodney, that's the kind of thing that can motivate a team, right? Like, Jesus, it happened again.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 68-60 in overtime. The year before, 64-55, 65-52. There are players on this team, they're like, this has gotten old. So that's got to become a motivating factor, even if it's not something that's guaranteed and couldn't happen until the end of February.
Yeah, there's the motivation factor. So I've been impressed with the kind of the work ethic that they've come back with, and knowing that they're working within our practice, but they understand that there's the work to be done outside of that, the individual work that they get in, throughout the year, even with their busy schedules that they have here. So they're motivated by that. They're motivated by the fact that we've, been in the NCAA tournament, but I think each time, even with these, deep runs and you play great teams when you get there, I think they really want to continue to build their legacy and improve. I think anytime you play those games, you want to feel like you put your best foot forward and you played your best. And I think even at the end of the game, you lose to a really good Scranton team, you feel like, wow, if we were, better in that second quarter where we didn't score that much, or if we execute a little bit better with the block plays, made more shots, and you feel really good, even if you come up short. So I think they're extremely motivated to lead, extremely motivated to improve upon those things that they want to get better individually. And part of that is the mental side of it as well, getting over, hopefully getting over that hump in the conference tournament as well.
Yeah, I can see it as driving the ship. Rodney, one last question I have for you is third season and out of Millsaps, right?
I graduated.
No, Millsaps was your alma mater.
Yeah, came here from Rhodes.
Sorry, brain freeze. Obviously a similar institution to Hopkins, so you understand what they want in a student athlete and all that. But I am kind of curious. Nothing against you, Rodney. I expected we'd see a lull at some point. Like, you got to get your players in. Everybody's got to adjust to yourself. Maybe it's in that first season. Maybe it's in the sophomore slump. No. It's 26-4 your first year, 18-1 in conference play, 24-5 last year, 13-1 in conference play, and you're off to a big start, 3-0. What's been the magic for you and the squad to gel so quickly, so well, and change what they were doing under one head coach to what you're doing now?
I wish magic. I think for me and with the players is that the biggest thing is like, this is their team, and you have to have your principles, and we want to be disciplined, and I think there's some areas that you always want to be good at: rebounding, working to take care of the basketball, not fouling. Like, those are the main things that I try to get across. But it's really about finding what works best with the group that you have and highlighting those skills. And then also, I think outside of just the on-court stuff, they're stressed out enough. They have a lot going on. How can I help them be confident and be the best? And then once you're coaching somewhere, those are your players now. I know there's always talk about getting your own players, and that's part of it, but I have to show them that I'm 100% invested in them from day one. And so the folks that are here, the folks that we've been able to bring in, really excited about them, and it's about what we can do to best serve them and help them grow. So I'm excited about the newcomers that we have this year. The folks that we're continuing to recruit. I think the goal is to continue to raise the bar, and that's the goal of the athletic department, and that's definitely the goal of our team. And it's great not to have people who are satisfied. So it's been fun. It's been stressful too, but I'm excited to coach this group, and because they play so hard, it makes that aspect I never have to worry about, and that's what's fun about being here.
Well, and you got smart kids, right? Kids. Yeah. They're not kids. Young adults. They're smart. They know what they're doing, not only in the academic side, but I can imagine coaching from Rhodes included, coaching from that perspective where they can get the nuances faster than maybe others is just a fascinating perspective to have. Can't wait to see you. This team is fascinating and scary. That this weekend's going to be a great litmus test as well. But cat's out of the barn, as it were, cows out of the barn, whatever the phrase is. They all know you now. So quick question, how do you adjust to what now everybody knows? Like it's not like everyone's wondering who you are. You've made that statement clear. How do you approach this weekend, for example?
I mean, I think for us and, watching film and get ready for these teams, I know Catholic's a team that's going to be motivated from last year, motivated from their first game. They play hard, a lot of defensive intensity, and they have skilled players. So for me, I think just making sure our players understand that these are really good teams that we're going up against. And so maybe they'll try to take away shots for this person, or they'll try to, make sure they're pressuring, trapping the rebounds. So making sure we're prepared for that. And we never, want to overlook anyone that we play. And I'm excited about the start that we've had, like I said, but, I've been having nightmares about each game, essentially getting ready for it, and that's the same way. Like Catholic is a great program, Christopher Newport's a great program, so I think that's the idea, that we're ready for what kind of is coming, but you still have to be prepared, and you have to go out there and execute. So we're going to be ready with practice today, practice tomorrow, about the things that those teams do well, and we'll try to take away. So I'm hopeful that we come out and play hard, and know that that's the one thing that you can ask for anytime you're playing against great opponents.
Hey, I appreciate the time. Took more of the time than I said I would. I appreciate it nonetheless. Congratulations. Just tremendous start. I really can't wait to see this team in action in person, other than just video. And I'll have to wait until January, but I'm looking for it nonetheless. As always, though, we give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
Well, appreciate you having me on. Like I said, it's certainly a process, and great start in the first few games, but we know that we want to get a lot better, and it's a great group to do that with, and a great place to be at. So excited for a great season of D3 basketball. A lot of good teams. I think there's a lot of unknowns throughout the country. But there are obviously some really great teams and programs. So we just want to be competing with the best, and hopefully we can keep taking the steps to do that.
Well, you're certainly taking some big steps already. Very impressive. You enjoy the holidays. Enjoy a Hoppin' Goldfarb in the meantime. Don't get distracted by the football team or anything. And we'll look forward to catching up with you down the road.
All right. Thank you.
Rodney Rogan joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Team is off to a commanding 3-0 start. Again, Catholic and Christopher Newport this weekend. Then York, Washington College, Bryn Mawr, Trinity to wrap up this side of the year. Backside, they'll go William Patterson, Rowan, then get into conference play with Swarthmore, Gettysburg, F&M, McDaniel. I know that's a long way out, but that is a heck of a run there. If they get through that point into late January, still undefeated, this is a team that is going to turn heads if they haven't already. We'll take another break. When we come back, we're running behind, but we'll head out to Wisconsin, talk to Klay Knueppel about his Wisconsin Lutheran Warriors. That's what I'm trying to say. And listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studio.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody, as we continue to roll along on this Thursday. Hope you're enjoying the show. Our next guest, I'm now realizing a major mistake. You see all the jerseys on the wall. There are jerseys down here on the floor because we don't have enough wall space, which is why we're going to redo this wall a little bit. I've got some ideas to get more jerseys onto it. But I should have had their jersey up. And it's hidden behind me, and we don't need to show any more of my largeness. I'm already showing a studio light. We don't need to show that either. Wisconsin Lutheran women's basketball, probably one of the more consistent teams in Division III, and maybe overlooked, certainly overlooked on my part. We haven't had them on since 2022 because I've gotten so used to them winning that I'm like, we'll talk to them later. I will talk to them later. And then later comes and I want to go talk to somebody else for whatever reason. I'm like, we'll talk to them later. We'll talk to them later. 21-8 last year, 15-1 in conference. 23-5 the year before that, 15-1 in conference. 19-8 before that, 15-3 in conference. 23-2, 15-1. Even in the COVID year, they were 12-1, 9-1. They have had a handful of below 20-win seasons since 2010, 2011, and the lowest was 16. This is a team that just wins. So joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about it, with his proper pronunciation of the last name, because it's been so long I had forgotten, it's Klay Knueppel. As I change cameras. Coach, good to see you. Thank you for taking the time to join us. First off, sorry for the show, all of the Knueppel all day long. First and foremost, thanks for coming back and being willing to, since I haven't had you on the air in 3.5 years. What is it about this program and what you guys can do in Milwaukee that is so consistent that even the Brewers would be a little bit jealous?
I believe it's a school. Honestly, it's the president, the administration we have that really supports our athletics, and then consistency with our program and the tradition that we've kind of built here. Has brought in some good kids and some good players, and Christian part of the school is a huge part of our program as well. So I think that plays a huge part for us when we're recruiting and what we're doing here. That's just a big part of who we are and has made our program very successful.
And we should point out, I know Adam sent me a pronunciation guide that says Knueppel. I was focused on the players, just did not even think to look at your name. So Adam, I apologize to you as well, and your hard work. You got a lot of players too, which is really interesting. That's always good. We talk about this time and place of financial strife. We talked about Wittenberg earlier in the show. We talked about Albright and their challenges in terms of losing coach because their status is so unknown. And those are the ones that are front and center along with Keystone. There's many who are struggling a little bit under the radar right now. And you've got a ton of players. And that means if you're doing it and other teams are doing it, WLC also has a lot of people on their campus, and that gives them a lot of financial stability. That's got to feel good, too, because you're not wondering, as there have been in your area, including schools like Alverno, the rumors or non-rumors of strife and struggle. You know things are going well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, when I started, that was kind of my goal of what can I do to be as a head coach? Where can I go to be with the well-known teams, the Hopes, the WashUs, the Wheatons, the Chicagos of the world. How can I get there? And all those guys had big rosters. I mean, that was kind of the big thing for me is let's have a big roster. Let's have a reserve team. So we've really pushed to recruit that way. We all do everything together as a team, but just trying to get big numbers so we can get some of those guys, some of the younger guys, opportunities on the floor. And we've just been really blessed with great kids coming in. But again, tradition-wise, it's been a big plus for us. When kids come in, they know they're coming into a winning tradition. The kids that want to compete, they're coming here to play. They know they're going to be playing for a championship every single year. We push for that, and we're striving to be better. I mean, we've been consistent. We're hoping in the next few years here, we can really make a push and hopefully be better in the NCAA tournament.
What's interesting, though, is you played 9 players against Trine, which is a 2-point win. By the way, a 2-point win over Trine is no joke. At their place on top of that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in a 2-point game, 9 players of a 21 roster. So 2 things. One, you're willing to go deep. But second, how do you feed the monster, as it were? 21 players. How do you keep them engaged? Because playing time is going to come at a premium for some, if at all.
I think part of it is just we have a lot of reserve games, so we play a lot of reserve games and get those guys opportunities to play. So they know they're going to get that opportunity to play, and that helps the conversations about not playing in the regular games and not getting in the regular games. Hey, we have in the next week 3 reserve games scheduled next week. They're going to get their opportunity to play, which really helps that conversation as we move forward with the players. I have 2 really great assistant coaches with me that we spend a lot of time with our players off the floor, just in individual meetings, getting to know them really well, especially our freshmen, their freshman year, just trying to have them understand us a little bit more. And then, again, just playing more of those games. And I guess I would say when we recruit kids, we really are honest of where we feel they're going to fit in, where they're going to be when they come in. So they have a good feel of where they're going to be, where they're going to compete, what level they're going to compete at. Because again, my schedule, we set it up to play against some of the best teams. And that's kind of my goal. It's been my goal. I don't know if it's the wisest choice, but to play some. Last year we played, I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, I had the toughest schedule, non-conference schedule before Christmas last year. This year is kind of no different. So when you go play a Trine, they're tough. My players know that, but again, we've played against really good teams, so my teams are used to that.
I'm going to circle back on the teams because I want to talk about your team in just a sense of, so we'll talk about the schedule, but tell me what makes this team click. Who are if we're to tune in, who are we going to immediately notice and want to know more about?
My assistant coach, no, they're crazy. They're crazy, but no, I will say that they really are great assistants. But player-wise, I mean, I've never coached a player as fast as my senior this year, Jaden Hill. She is one of the quickest players. I think a couple of years ago or 2 years ago when we were playing Wartburg, or maybe it was last year, I don't know. But I don't think the girl dribbled when she was guarding her because she was afraid she was going to. The coach told him, "Don't dribble it when she's guarding you because she'll probably take it from you." But Jaden is really a fast player, really quick, probably the fastest player I've ever coached. Slowing her down is probably one of the biggest things, like, hey, just slow down, because she makes mistakes with her speed sometimes. But what a great kid, has been here. She's our only senior. People enjoy watching her play just because she's just so fast and just athletic. And then Margie Stevens is a junior, plays for us. And Margie, we're just trying to get her to score. Like, she's so unselfish. She's just so unselfish. She is like the nicest person you'd ever want to meet, and be more selfish, score more, want the ball more. We actually have to force her. We have plays called Margie. Go get it. Go do something, because she is phenomenal when she gets going. But she just kind of lays back, sits back, and I need her to be a little bit more aggressive. And then we got younger guys, which are it's going to be fun to watch some of our freshmen coming in. They're exciting group that we brought in as freshmen. We got other guys as well, but it's an interesting group. We played 5 freshmen against Trine out of the 9 guys, so we have to play some of our younger guys early this year.
Interesting enough, Trinity outscored you all 14-0 off of turnovers. That's about the only thing that stood out to me that was really interesting. Because if you look at the box score from that game, you guys shot the ball well. What was the number? Let's see, 46% in the first quarter, 55% in the second quarter, so 44% for the game. 9 for 18 from the free throw line. I have a feeling I know what's being worked on in practice, just a wee bit. But when you look at it, listen, they played well too. So what was the secret in the Trine game? Because they shot the ball well. They outscored you on turnovers. What was it about that game, especially after they got up 29-14 in the first quarter? You outscored them 24-12 in the third. Those were the 2 fascinating quarters on my perspective. What was the switch that turned on that got you guys back in a very difficult place to play in at the MTI Center?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough place. I mean, I told the team after, I think part of it is we prepare our teams the same every single game. We don't make anybody bigger than they are. We try to tell, our guys are veteran. We don't have a ton of veteran guys, but they've been in like NCAA games. They've been in conference championship games. They've been in huge games, and they've been down in some of those or struggled. And it's just as normal. Like, hey, we can still do this. We know our scouting report is a good scouting report. It's really hard at the beginning of the year. Like, we play Gustavus on Friday. They haven't played yet. They have all new players. Trine had some new players. The girl goes off for 32 on us last year against us. She scored 5. We were just trying to figure out. We had a game plan going in of how we wanted to defend. They changed their offense a little bit. So then some of our younger players, we just got, it was like, okay, we got off the bus and we got kind of stomped on. But we stuck with what we wanted to do. And then at halftime, we were trying to take away their post player as much as we could. And we did that. We doubled her a lot, but then we gave up some open threes. And then in the second half, we decided not to double her. And she didn't score a lot either. So it was like one of those things where we were just trying to take her out of it. We did, but they were hitting threes. And then it just kind of came full circle for us where, the one girl was hitting a lot of threes, but overall we were going to out-rebound them, defend as hard as we could. And we did have an 8-point lead late in the game, and then just kind of stumbled our way to victory. But great victory for our team. And I think it's just we don't put any bigger. We play Gustavus and Wartburg this weekend, and they're just teams coming in, and we got to be ready to play and have a good game plan to go in.
Listen, this schedule's insane. Gustavus Adolphus and Wartburg at your place this weekend. You'll then dabble in the conference with a game against Marion, then Loris. All of these teams are NCAA tournament teams. Back in the conference against Aurora and Lakeland. Then Platteville. You'll take a break for the holidays. You'll go to Orlando to play Messiah and Illinois Wesleyan. Now, Messiah just got thumped last night by Dickinson. 78-57, but that's still usually a perennially good team. Illinois Wesleyan's in the top 25, and then you'll get a break by getting into conference play. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because who knows from this conference. I mean, Illinois Tech has got a darn good coach in Chris Sign. And this conference last year, if memory serves, you tied with St. Norbert atop. Concordia, Wisconsin was in the mix. Aurora was in the mix. Aurora had been in the mix in the skies overnight. Got that pun out of the way. Benedictine and MSOE have been in this. You're not going to get any slouches, so you go out there and beat the snot out of yourselves with non-conference play? Klay, have you lost your ever-loving mind?
A lot of people around here think I have. Like, they are like,
fair.
Are you crazy? Like, I don't know. I think I am. Like, I got to try to figure it out a little bit. You know, again, I think it's trying to give my teams tests, but this is like, it is insane. Like, this weekend, you know, playing Trine and then playing Gustavus and Wartburg, and then the pause even in our tournament this weekend. I mean, we had 4 NCAA tournament teams in our tournament on this opening weekend.
I mean, hats off to you, Klay. Hats off. No, I am not knocking this in any way, shape, or form, because I love when a team goes out there and challenges themselves and puts it on the floor to say, this is who we are. We're going to put up or we're going to shut up. And you make the NCAA tournament. You're better for it when you make the NCAA tournament. You're never a team we can overlook in the NCAAs. I'm reminding myself, last year you beat St. Norbert in the conference title, and then Gustavus Adolphus was your first-round team, and you took them to overtime.
NCAA we should have won that one. Yeah.
Fair.
Up six.
This is the kind of abuse Klay's taken, everybody. 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament, first-round loss, Wartburg by 7.
Yeah.
3 years ago, you didn't make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I know that was a bit of a 19-8, 15-3. The year before that, I'll quickly check. We don't need to keep going down this rabbit hole. You got to the tournament and lost to Oshkosh. I mean, you always get the tough opponent, but this gets you ready for it, right? Like this is the point of it. Even though you decided to be real crazy. To take on Gustavus and Wartburg, your last 2 foes in the next 2 games. But is that the point? It's not just about making sure you can get into the tournament. It's about being ready for the tournament.
Yeah, we always look at it this way. Like our conference, I know where our conference sits. Middle of the pack and power. Like,
it's not bottom, but it's middle.
Just there. We're not going to get in by, rarely are we ever going to have 2 teams in the conference in the NCAA tournament. So it's like, I got to prepare my guys outside competition in our non-conference games to get ready for that if we may. We've been blessed to go just to get there, but we face the guys that have been there, I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier to get calls back from those coaches, from Bob, from Wartburg, than it is from guys that are kind of in the middle of the road because they don't want to come and play us. Like, we're trying to fill our tournament, and I mean, we reach out to the top 25 teams. We want our tournament to be like one of the elite opening tournaments every single year. If you look back, that's kind of a special weekend. It's named after my father. And it's just like, it's a great weekend to have NCAA tournaments. It's an NCAA tournament feel. But it just helps us, I believe, prepare ourselves. I don't think I should probably have 4 or 5 top 25 teams every single year in my non-conference. But again, it helps us. Like, our players just believe they can play with anybody, which is a great thing, because they have, and I think that helps us in our conference, helps us when we play other teams that are better. I mean, you forgot one team that we have on our list this year as a team that we're playing as UW-Milwaukee. We're playing them on December 20th because Alverno is out this year for us. So we had to pick up a game. We picked up UWM there for you.
But is it counting?
Just to add another team into there. But
will you count it, or will it be an exhibition for you?
No, it will count as a game because
You're counting that game?
Yes.
Klay.
Yep. It's a game for them and a game for us. Yes.
Klay, you don't have to count it.
I know. I know.
Klay.
Hey, Hey, Dave,
Klay, you can change your mind.
You may not have me back on this phone.
You can tell me you didn't use your 2 exhibitions.
We had scrimmages. I did not. We had scrimmages, but
did you
when
use
this came
both?
up, I wanted to play 25 games, and they were.
Oh, Klay.
It counted for them, so we're going to play them. And,
hold on, but did you use your 2 scrimmage exhibitions? Did you use 2?
Yes.
Oh. Klay.
Damn, I'm gonna. Yeah. Well,
Klay.
I'm gonna keep pushing.
I'm gonna go back to calling you Knueppel.
All right, okay.
Oh, Klay,
So
we
I'm
could have
supposed to
called.
say
I mean, listen,
Magoo?
hats
No,
off
I'm
to you
supposed to say
playing them. I
Magoo
have
now,
no
or
problems
what?
playing with them. I'm just saying you had an out to not have it count against you.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, no. I mean, hats off. Hats off.
I don't think the NCAA is gonna take anything where, I mean, every single year we've had pretty good years, and I still get sent somewhere where I'm like, all right, we're playing the home team.
To see what that does to your
I don't
NPI.
think they're gonna hold the. What was that?
I got to ask the NPI boys what's that going to do to your NPI number. I'd be fascinated.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be yes.
Matt Snyder, Snyder Brothers, I should say. Can you let me know how that affects their NPI? Because I'd be fascinated. Listen, I unfortunately I got to go, but Klay, I'm being reminded, I should say, why I should have had you on the show every year. Love chatting with you. Always a blast. You look great, by the way, for a coach who's been there 22 seasons.
Thanks.
I have to ask you before we let you go, though. What's it like to have the Knueppel family be such a basketball-heavy family that, well, you're not the biggest name in the Knueppel family. Do explain to people who have maybe not put the 2 and 2 together, like myself.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's my family's been really blessed. I mean, the Knueppel family and now my nephew playing for the Hornets, getting drafted 4th, and it's been really special. All my family lives in Milwaukee pretty much. I have my one sister that lives in Indiana, but the rest of the family lives in Milwaukee. And my son grew up with Cantu, and just having that. My father still living at 87 and running around. It's just. The Knueppel name has, I believe, like, my nephew's just a great kid, great person, a nice kid, and that kind of carries the Knueppel name, and we're proud of that. And we try to carry our father's name as long as we can. Just my dad was a coach, AD, all that kind of stuff, and Cantu's grandpa. So it's just kind of it's been fun. It's been really fun for our family. He's actually play against the Bucks. Can't see the Hornets play the Bucks. They play at the same time we're playing. So the family's kind of split on that one.
He is averaging 16 and a half points, 6.5 boards, and 3 assists per game in his rookie campaign so far for the Charlotte Hornets. That is pretty darn good stuff. Yeah, you can't go to the game, but I have a feeling that you can get to some other games somewhere down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Klay, I got to let you go, but my off-court podcast list keeps growing because you're one of those I want to dive down the rabbit hole with. We will be in touch regarding that. But, hey, listen, hats off.
All right.
Go challenge yourself. I can't wait to see how this season plays out for you all. And thanks for taking the time today to join us. As always, we do provide the coach with the final word. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with those who might be tuned in?
Just thankful for the college, Wisconsin Lutheran College, for everything they've done for my program and for the school. And then just my mom and dad and my family, just love them and appreciate them. And then for you, Dave, I appreciate everything you do and talking about Division III basketball. It's just awesome to be on here, and really appreciate everything you do. And sometime I got to get you to come out to our opening tournament. You'll love the food, man. We cook homemade food for all the teams that come and play in our tournament. My wife makes chocolate chip. My wife makes her chocolate chip cookies for all the teams to take home with them. So I get you courtside seating. You'd love it. You'd love to come and see it.
Yeah, I might have to make that work. I almost got to Milwaukee during the playoffs this year, for work reasons, but that's not around the tournament. Yeah, we'll talk. You might be able to convince me to get out there. The hometown cooking isn't the only reason I'd be out there, but I'd come. Klay, love it. Good luck. Take care of yourself. Please tell Adam I said hello. And look forward to catching up with you guys down the road.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Klay Knueppel joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Just love chatting with him. Again, they are challenging themselves. And they're putting up and they're shutting up. They won't be shut up. That is a darn good schedule, and I'd be stunned if they don't come out of that in pretty good shape. Going to take another break. When we come back, switch to men's basketball. We'll cross Lake Michigan to Michigan. We'll go to Grand Rapids. Talk to the Calvin Knights. Are we way overdoing our expectations? See what I did there? We'll talk to Bill Salt coming up. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios. More after this. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go on a personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
For the love of the game, but for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Rolling along on this Tuesday edition. Reminder coming up, we'll still hear from Jim Haney about what he thinks is the biggest rule change in Division III men's basketball this year. And I'm emphasizing Division III men's basketball. There are other rule changes, and we'll explain how you can hear his thoughts on those to come. But in the meantime, we got another guest to come, because if you've noticed on the tote board, we've checked off Virginia Wesleyan, Johns Hopkins, and Wisconsin Lutheran. The shortest name and the only one word name on the list is next. How did I do that, by the way? Two words, one. I got to start being better with my scheduling. But I wanted to talk to this team at the start of the year because we tend to talk to them in late January or February all the time. And it's great to get the perspective that time of year. And if you don't know the tradition on this show, once we've talked to a team, we try not to return to that team and that guest until we at least get to the end of February and the NCAA tournament in March. We might have another guest from that institution on, but we try and pace it out so we can talk to as many institutions as possible. So I try and strategize. Well, with Wisconsin Lutheran, we kept strategizing and pushing them off, and we'd never get to them. With Calvin, I always seem to talk to him at the end of the year. What's the perspective like in November? So that's why they're on the show today. Lost to Denison in a head-scratcher, 61-59. And listen, Denison's a really good team, but there are high expectations for Calvin coming into the year. They probably took out their frustrations the next day against Ohio Wesleyan to talk it all over and explain a little bit more to us about what the goings-on there in Grand Rapids. And joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline, it's the Snyder's favorite coach. It is Bill Saul from the 12th-ranked Calvin Knights. 1-1 on the season, Coach. Good to have you. I'm not going to ask you if you're happy with 1-1. I'm more curious, is 1-1, or do you have expectations coming in on how you want a season to necessarily start?
Well, you want to start out well, and I think that's where we're at right now. Again, we don't have to worry peaking early because we certainly have a lot of work to do to get there. And credit to Denison. I thought they played exceptionally hard, really killed us on the offensive glass. They had 18 offensive rebounds. But the expectations that we have for the program, we did not deliver. We certainly have spent the beginning of this week talking those things through with everybody, because where we want to go and what we want to be, we need to see better than that.
So what is better? So that's an open-ended perspective. So I'd love to drill down a little more. You had a really good defensive effort against Ohio Wesleyan, allowing, I think it was 46 points. But what is better? Is that better in a lot of different areas? Is that better in one area in particular? Where do you want better to? How do you want better to describe or be filled in, as it were?
That makes sense. Look, if you look at that game, we need to push the basketball up the floor. Well, and when you're giving that many offensive rebounds, you're not able to do it. But we had one transition basket. We always like to see where we're sharing the basketball and roughly we're getting into that 15-16 assist ratio, and we were not doing that. So we really weren't sharing the ball. We weren't cutting. We weren't moving. We watched the entire game with our team, and what we describe as Calvin basketball, where we go out there and every day and every game we're going to play hard, play smart, and play together. It's kind of the it's old Dean Smith stuff, but I still love it. We didn't have that, right? And for whatever reason, really good to take a pause after the first game and say that the expectations are that we're going to do these things, right? I think it has to do, yes, with some new fresh faces, some guys that haven't played. I mean, a whole combination of things. But to really figure out how you can just mold all that together and make it a team still takes time. And trust me, we are not there yet.
You're not quite there yet. You're always building to the end. You have an interesting dynamic this year in that 2 seasons ago, you start the year, or you have an unbelievable year from Jalen Overway, and you've got other pieces with that team that kind of has you guys break out. If 21-22 was pretty good, 22-23 was damn good.
Right.
23-24 was like the season. 25-5, 12-2.
Yeah.
You marched all the way to, what was it? The knocking on the door of a Final Four, right?
Yep.
With Trinity, Connecticut knocking you off 69-62 in that Elite Eight round. Last year, you lose Overway. We should remind everybody, you guys actually started 0-5 and 1-6 before marching your way to the NCAA tournament. You were unstoppable at that point without Overway. Now you bring him back in kind of with new pieces, and let's remind everybody, he was out for the season last year due to an injury. 2 seasons ago, 19.7 points a game, 10.4 rebounds a game, 2.2 assists per game, shot 55.7% from the floor, 31.2% from beyond the arc, and 74% from the free throw line. All right, now we put this back in, Coach.
Yep.
Here he is, but with a team that played without him last year. That's a plus and a minus, because last year they all learned to play without him.
Right.
Now they got to remember how to play with him, but you now have him back in. This is a fascinating dynamic. Mm-hmm. How do you now balance all of that with a team that could look like 2 years ago with a team that played last year without him? Do you see what I'm getting at?
Absolutely. And it's an adjustment, right? Because, again, without him, became way more of an open spacing team, right? Really open motion, a lot of drawn kicks, but the interior was wide open, right? And that gave a lot of our guys liberty to go get downhill. And we had to. I mean, you talk about that 1-6 start, which was not exactly the most enjoyable.
Listen, I wrote you off, and I'll be honest.
Yeah, and rightfully so. So we had to figure that piece out, and it took time, right? So now enter the mix. Yes, you get an All-American that at 6'10", 250 pounds. You know what? We want to give him the basketball. But how do we incorporate the other skilled players that we have that can do a lot of really good things, from Luca Ressler to Trevin Winkle to Parker Schwartz to Jordan Scott? I mean, we have some really, really good players all around, right? And make that system work. And I think right now, for us, we're playing a little more like I talked to me the other day about. We're playing in some silos, right? Where everybody's kind of in their own niche, and we have yet to really figure out how to make that cohesive. And I've been happy with us on defense. I think defensively we've been very good. Pleasantly surprised after losing Uchenna Egekeza, All-American. But that synergy that you need to be successful, we're just not quite there yet.
Obviously, that's got to come, right? And you can practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and look really good there. It's until someone throws you curveballs with an opponent that you don't know if that synergy's there. Obviously,
Right.
We probably saw that with the Denison game, maybe saw the solution in the Ohio Wesleyan game, but it's 2 games. Colorado
Yes.
College and Stout ahead of you, along with Heidelberg, Oshkosh. Kuiper?
Kuiper, yes.
Yeah, Kuiper. Okay. Kuiper, all at home by mid-December.
Right.
Then you're in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. You'll take on Augustana, take a holiday break, head to Mount Union to play Wilmington and Mount Union, and then you get into conference play.
Yep.
In the grand scheme of things here, Bill, you don't have to worry about this non-conference play if you go out and just win the MIA. But I know you want to have games at home if you can, like your women's soccer program this coming weekend. And maybe men's soccer the following weekend if they can get through. You want the benefits of winning. So how do you find yourselves, figure out the synergy without putting too much pressure on winning games at this juncture in this season?
Well, I think the emphasis needs to be on a couple of things, right? I told the guys that this last weekend, I thought they played hard. And I always give guys our credit. They play hard, right? But I felt that they didn't compete. And when you talk about competing, right, it's like the 50-50 balls, the ability to really, be out there and, again, just trying your best to play for each other in everything you do. So that's number one, right? Number two, when you talk about that synergy, it's like, I thought Jalen in the first couple of games, I mean, granted, he had a lot of points, right? But again, when we were the best, when the ball went inside and it went back out, right? When we were able to get the ball in the scoring area and get it back out. So, those elements, we're not there yet, right? And you're spot on. You have to be able to do that through games. But I do believe this: if we can get ourselves to be able, number one, to play with a little more emotion, okay. Number two, get ourselves to really buy into everybody trying to compete at an exceptionally high level. We can make plenty of mistakes. I mean, basketball is a game of mistakes. But now, how do you get yourself to be able to? If we can do those things, that gives us a chance, obviously, to win, but also look to find that improvement. And I think for us, right, all of this is, I think it's interesting, right? So Jay's back with us, but we are still trying to really figure out each other. And I guess I would say this from my expectation with a lot of seniors. I kind of thought, yeah, we'll get it figured out. And that's a new thing with coaching all the time. Sometimes you think you get it figured out, and you learn you really don't know much. So, we just got to keep on hammering that home.
I mean, I get it. And it's always different. You always have to adjust. I think you guys, after that 1-6 season, certainly showed you could adjust.
Yes.
So it's also a testament to your coaching and the success there. I know I've asked you this before. I'm fascinated on the perspective. Graduate of 90, the program kind of fell to the wayside, as it were. And I'm not trying to knock on it. It just struggled, right?
Yeah.
Like this powerhouse that had been synonymous with being at the top of Division III had kind of fallen to about a 500 type squad. You're in your 6th season, and granted, COVID had an interesting start for you, but all the regular seasons that you've had since then have been 20-win seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was the lowest at 21 wins. What's it mean to you to, one, have such a huge impact immediately on this program, but two, be able to take your alma mater and put them back in this national spotlight, as it were, back into the conversation, back in the race for MIA titles and the rest?
Well, it's awesome. And for a variety of reasons, right? I mean, now, again, we're going way back in the 90s when I was playing here. But how much the basketball program, this school, transformed me, right, from what I was with a snot-nosed 18-year-old kid trying to figure out life, right,
yeah,
to graduating from here. And then, again, the opportunity to get into coaching and a lot of great programs that was a part of, right, Ferris State, Northern Michigan as a head coach. But when you get back to this place, right, back to Calvin, it is just different. And, I have like this sense of not only, as a coach, you want to be successful where you are, but an obligation to see us be what we can be, because I feel that's where Calvin basketball should be on the totem pole. And it's been so enjoyable to get back and be around just a group of guys that you love, and you can go out there and compete every day. But, I think as a coach, it's like, hey, we're playing for Calvin here, right? And this is the program. I think that's the one thing that I really did when I got back, is we brought back alums from the 70s, from the 80s, from those 2000 teams, right? To get back to, hey, this is what it means to put on this uniform, and the expectations when you put on this uniform of how you should compete and what you should do. Because the history, you're right, the history is amazing. And I feel super fortunate to be a coach here, and you look back at the lineage of coaches, and to be the guy that's now taken the mantle, is really humbling, but also it gets me juiced up every day to see what we can do.
Should point out 7th season, because your first one was 2019-2020, 15 and 11 that year, which was a slight improvement from the year before. Then was the COVID year where you went 8-4, and then you broke out the next year out of COVID at 22-9. And you're getting great talent. I mean, you had a Keji. I used to say that, right?
Uchenna Egekezi. It's a tough one.
Egekezi. I always forget the extra syllable. And the sad part was, in my head, I nailed it. And then I went to speak, and my mouth went, nope, we're done. And again, you've got Overway, and you're being able to attract. And listen, we all know Hope and Calvin have a unique brand that you have to cater to when you recruit, just like Messiah, just like Wheaton, just like Yeshiva, and a lot of others, but you're being successful at it, which has flipped the Hope-Calvin relationship again. Obviously, that's a huge rivalry that drives the ship in a lot of ways. You won't even see Hope until January 24th at their place, and then you wrap up the season at home at your place February 21st. But is as much as you guys recruit from the same group and you can dip into that, do you go outside of that and try and bring in others to buy into that, or how do you? This is a question like at a Messiah. How do you come to an institution that maybe you're not part of, but then become part of? Like, what's that challenge like?
Well, and I think in our scope, right, we've really tried to expand our recruiting base. Uchenna's from Chicago. We've been able to get some guys from California, a couple other guys from the Illinois area. But look, our base is always going to be the western part of Michigan, right? And again, we want to be able to get those guys that want a great education, that want to have a Christian education where they're in a situation where not only from the basketball team, but what they're getting here is by followers of Christ. But also along with those things, do you want to play a great brand of basketball and play in an environment, right, that I feel is one of the best small college environments that you can play in? I've been in Division II programs. Like I was at Northern Michigan where we had this beautiful 6,000 seat hockey arena. And then they'd plop a court in the middle and call it a basketball arena. And we were lucky to have 250 people there, right?
It's hard to see a game in that environment if you're not feeling it.
So like this, right? This is, hey, when you go out there and you're in a sellout of 6,000 people, that's special.
Well, and they're right on top of you. The way that thing was built, you're literally right on top of it. And by the way, watching a live stream, we're right on top of it too.
Right.
Just joking about the angle. But yeah, that's what is amazing is, yes, similar sizes, but completely different perspectives on it. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled to be able to go to a Hope-Calvin game, albeit it was at Hope. I understand.
Oh, we got to get you back to the North sometime.
I went to the big, what was it? I forgot what number it was, 200?
Okay, yeah, the 200 celebration one, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the 200 celebration at Hope. No, I'd love to. I visited Calvin on that weekend. Okay. The place was empty because, no games. I'd love to get back. It was under the former head coach as well. But I could go down the rabbit hole with you too. It's a whole day of rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. And I'm already looking at the clock and realizing I'm well past my time and well past your time. So we'll let you go. But so many interesting factors, and this is why I wanted to talk to you at this time of year. Building this team, getting them to succinct with Overway, while at the same time still doing what worked so well last year, albeit you got to deal with graduations and the like, and the expectations. The expectations are high.
Right.
I have you number 3 on my preseason ballot. Mm-hmm. You finished 12, which meant somebody compensated for my insanity. And so, but at the same time, the campus has expectations, right?
Right.
You've got soccer programs that are doing well. You've got a football program that's trying to establish itself. You've got other programs that are doing well. You want to be part of that. And so getting to hear you now and talk about it now versus late in the season when it's already been done is great. And I really appreciate all your time. And I wish I could give you more. I wish I could give myself more. I could, technically. But on that note, I'll leave you be. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in? Because I fascinating thoughts today, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, again, David, we said David.
Yes, I forgot to do that, William.
Yeah, you're William, which is funny, right? I was William, I think, at birth, and then I was Billy. I'm glad that I went from Billy to Bill.
I was David until after high school, and then I pivoted to Dave, and trust me, it confused the hell out of my wife because my family still calls me David.
But, it's one of those things where, hey, I trust our guys implicitly. We've got great leadership. We've got guys that are committed to the program, committed to what Calvin stands for. So I'm super excited to see where we go with the growth of it all, right? It is funny, right? It's like we're just starting this year up. It's just really interesting in the landscape of Division III hoops and seeing, some teams rise to the challenge, some teams, not quite where they need to be. And, I think you can be in one of those situations where it, in either way, right? I think after 1 week, you can have expectations that are too high or low or blasted, and it's like it's 1 week, right? And I think that's the thing is, let's see where all of it happens as we get into December, and I think for us the big thing is, hey, let's make sure that we're in a positive point where we get into January and the grind of the MIAA, we're ready to roll. And hopefully along that way, win a few games as we continue. But with that being said, again, I enjoy, you're reaching out to so many coaches. It's a lot of fun. I kind of get you on the ride in. I don't get to actually listen. I can't really watch here. I'd go off the road, but
No.
it is.
And most people would.
Yeah, it is just so cool what you do for the D3 nation. And I tell you, I am just thrilled to be a part of it and be back here.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it very much. You've been so kind to us since you've returned to Division III. And again, love chatting with you, and congratulations on what you guys have built. Good luck this season. Really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And I think we made it through without giving the Snyder brothers a hard time. I think we did well today.
Before we go, we should just talk about the Snyders. I mean,
Okay,
I will say
the floor is yours, sir.
The last time, we got on here and Zach actually ended up, I think, taking the spread and taking Hope. I really haven't forgiven him for that yet. But again, I mean, those guys are awesome. It's so fun. I almost had my Datacast T-shirt on, but I forgot to put it on today just to give a little promo. But
no, absolutely, it would have been absolutely appropriate, sir. Absolutely, they do wonderful work.
Yeah, as well you do is for sure. So
well,
thanks
thank
so
you.
much.
I mean, we do different work. They're all about the data, which that's over my head. But I appreciate the intel that they bring to the table, and it's amazing. Amazing the ribbing we've given them over the years.
Yeah.
Bill, take care of yourself. Say hello to your, especially your men's soccer coach when he returns. I've known him over the years as well.
Yeah,
and look forward to catching up with you down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much.
Take care, Bill. Bill Saul joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. We're way into overtime here. I am not behaving myself on keeping these shows at 2 hours this year with one less guest scheduled. So on that in mind, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Jim Haney on what he thinks is the biggest rule change this season. He sat down with Ryan Scott. We'll play a snippet of it. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. We are blown way through our time commitment of 2 hours, but we're going to keep things rolling here for the final segment. I'm Dave McHugh, your host. You can always donate to the show. BuyMeACoffee.com/Hoopsville. You get a lot of perks becoming a member there. We'll talk more about that. I'll try and eventually put out a video talking about the perks. But Top 25 show will be available to you live and on demand. My Top 25 ballot, for example, and then the Off Court podcast as well. In the meantime, I don't want to leave without this first week of the season being under our belts without talking about rule changes. There's a handful of rule changes that have come on both the men's and women's side. One of them is a challenge rule. On the women's side, you can challenge particular plays even if you don't have timeouts remaining. On the men's side, you can challenge a play, but only if you have a timeout remaining. Now, the women will have a punishment if the challenge isn't reversed and you don't have any timeouts remaining. There's also the continuation rule that's been adopted on the men's side. Also, this one's a little bit smaller, and I think it was added this year, but I could be wrong. Might have been added sooner. On the women's side years ago, 6 some odd years ago, I jokingly called it the Gino rule because I was told Gino Auriemma basically insisted that this get put in place. Anytime there's a whistle to stop play, the band and or DJ can play music. Well, that's come to men's basketball, as I found out the other night, begrudgingly. I don't love it. I think for some of these stoppages, it is unnecessary. You get 10 seconds, and it's just adding noise. And I think it impacts officials and other aspects of the game. But I digress. A few weeks ago, Ryan Scott chatted with Jim Haney, head of men's basketball officiating at the Division III level, someone we've had on this show. And they talked about the rule changes that have come to be. But they talked about one in particular, and I've already mentioned it, that I wanted to highlight. And then I'll tell you how you can listen to the rest of the interview. But here's where Jim Haney thinks is the most important rule change.
So the big one coming in is this challenge system. I'm assuming we had way too many stoppages at the end of the game to try and figure out of bounds plays. And this is the way that the rules committee is trying to tackle it. So let us know how that's going to be different and how we're using challenges this year.
Well, in Division III, each coach now will get one challenge during the game. If they are successful, they will be granted a second challenge. What they can challenge are out-of-bounds plays, basket interference and goaltending, and restricted area plays. So those are the 3 things that they can challenge. And with replay this year, in Division III, it's going to be interesting because there's going to be some games where the coach's challenge will not be in play because we don't have replay. So you can't use the rule if you don't have replay, even if it's being live streamed and even if the coach on the bench has an iPad and if you're not using replay in the game, you cannot challenge. The coach's challenge is gone. So let's just say the coach challenges an out-of-bounds play in the first half, and he's successful, and they overturn it. He will then get a second challenge to be used at some point without losing a timeout. If he is unsuccessful, he will be charged a timeout. So any unsuccessful challenge will be a loss of a timeout also. So once he challenges, the referee will go over and look at whatever replays available. And on D3, obviously, and I know, there's going to be some places where there's 7 cameras, and there's going to be some places where there's an iPad sitting next to the SID, and the live stream is being broadcast, and he's going to be able to rewind or do whatever and try to get the best look at the play. If it is inconclusive, which a lot could be, he will be charged a timeout. If the replay system for some reason doesn't work, let's say Wi-Fi goes down and there's no replay and you can't find, there's just nothing. It's completely down. He will not lose his challenge. It will just be a do-over, so to speak. He will not be charged a timeout. He will not be charged an unsuccessful challenge, because that's going to happen. That's going to happen, especially in our, some gyms, the Wi-Fi, you never know whether it's going to last the whole game or the first half or whatever. But that's the big change for us is, and hopefully, and you know this, and I've been pushing this replay for a couple of years now. Hopefully this will lead us to more conferences and more schools getting on replay at a minimum of having an iPad or a laptop. That's what everybody gets confused with replay and think, oh, we got to have 3 cameras. We got to have this look. We got to no. Replay for us at our level is just having the opportunity and the availability for the official to go over and maybe be able to change an incorrect call. That's all it is. And it's an iPad. It's a laptop. It's whatever it is. It doesn't need an extra person to run it.
So there's your what you hear from Jim Haney. It was a snippet of a longer conversation with Ryan Scott, and they dive in a little bit more on replay. In fact, that many places have a lot of cameras and many places do not. It's a great conversation to hear between the two, and we've already linked it on our show page. You can go there and check out that conversation. We'll have Jim Haney on at a later date to kind of dive into other topics, but Ryan Scott handled the rule changes, as it were. And we're going to try and also reach out to the women's committee or basketball coordinator, as it were, sometime in the future as well. But great conversation to hear, and great to see Jim Haney, who has been instrumental in helping change officiating at Division III's men's basketball level, but I would argue across Division III as well. I think he has put a standard in place that a lot of officials are trying to reach. I'm not so sure some sports have gotten there, but there's other reasons behind that, and that's what we'll dive in with Jim Haney. Hey, lots ahead of us this week in terms of just what's going on around Division III. Lots of good games. Go to d3hoops.com to check those out. Even tonight, there isn't a ton on the way, but Scranton's playing New Jersey City in women's basketball. Ithaca travels to Cortland. La Crosse is playing Bethany Lutheran on the women's side. Men's side, one top 25 game tonight. Hardin-Simmons is at Dallas. And, for example, tomorrow, Saturday, Tufts is at Babson, Eureka at Wash U, Pacific at Redlands, Southern Virginia at Roanoke, Johnson and Wales at Wesleyan, Illinois College at Illinois Wesleyan, Co at Platteville, WPI at Worcester, Oshkosh at Maryville, CCNY at TCNJ, and that's just the ranked opponents. The unranked, Ramapo at McDaniel could be an interesting game. I'm glad to see McDaniel taking on a challenge there for a change, and plenty of others that will jump out at you or someone else. Ohio Wesleyan's at Heidelberg, for example. On the women's side, Oshkosh at Eureka, Bowdoin at Gordon, Grove City at Baldwin Wallace, TCNJ at Trinity. TCNJ could be a sneaky good team this year, I think. John Carroll at Carnegie Mellon, Ohio Wesleyan at Calvin, Geneseo at Rochester. This is the women's side. You might have gotten confused by Ohio Wesleyan there. This is the women's side. Geneseo at Rochester, Colorado College at Hope, Mary Hardin Baylor at Claremont Mudd Scripps, plus a whole mess of other games. Reminder, the next top 25 comes out in a week and a half, so some of these rankings will feel a little bit dated by the time we get there, but it's good to get a bunch of games under our belt, because the NESCAC, for example, is just starting this weekend with their games. Just starting to get out of the gate with their games, so we're going to get a chance to see the NESCAC for the first time this weekend in men's and women's basketball. So a lot of good stuff. Be sure to check in on d3hoops.com. Make sure to check in with us. We'll be back on the air Monday at noon. We will not be on the air next Thursday. We have a conflict in the schedule. So the next 3 Mondays will be the next 3 shows. So this coming Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving, the Monday after Thanksgiving, and then we'll get back to our Thursday schedule after that. The Monday before Thanksgiving, we'll also return with our Top 25 Double Take show that will only be available for subscribers live. So with that in mind, go bottom of the screen, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville, or there we go. You got the QR code sitting right there. That information is in our pinned to our social medias as well. So check that out. Help us continue the efforts that we're trying to make here, and you get a little extra out of it, including the Off Court podcast. We'll dive into what that means a little bit later, because we'll be launching that in December. So lots on the book. We might go a little bit long on the next couple of Monday shows to make up for that miss on Thursday. Going to try not to. I really want to polish these shows down to get them to 2 hours. Today we're at 2:20 right now when we sign off. So we got some work to do. We honestly do. But there's so much to talk about in Division III. And by the way, hats off on the other sports, the fall sports. Soccer will be opening up their tournaments this weekend along with field hockey. Volleyball will be next weekend. Cross country as well, etc. So hats off to those programs. But I bring up soccer real quick to mention. Calvin men's soccer got sent on the road to Hobart. And for many, they noticed that that was only under 500 miles if they traveled through Canada. And something that our data gurus who got in touch with us said was they were able to check the mileage calculator. And at one point, this last weekend and before selections was made, it said that was a 486-mile trip. I think someone raised a stink. I know Matt Snyder pointed it out on Twitter. That got changed, and now on the calculator, it shows you the non-Canadian route as being well over 500 miles. I don't think it's a big deal in the grand scheme of things because the committees were definitely handcuffed in terms of flights due to the government shutdown. I think both committees only had 3 flights in the opening weekend. They're going to pay for that in the second weekend. But in the first weekend, only 3 flights for all the soccer committees, both soccer committees. Calvin was one of those 3 flights. So I don't think in the grand scheme of things, this 500-mile thing was a big deal. But if they were hoping it wasn't a flight, they fouled up. Because it's not. It was well over 500 miles. But the old mileage calculator that's now behind a paywall, or not a paywall, but a login screen, only available to NCAA tournament or NCAA schools, now has the mileage gone from 46 through Canada to above 500. These are the things that we like to help solve. But when we brought this up last year, the NCAA, and I'm talking about those actually in Indy, that's a rare time I say that, did not want to hear about it. Disappointing, to say the least. So lots of good basketball ahead. We'll be back on the air. Quick note about our streaming. We are only streaming on YouTube today. We will upload this file to Hudl, so it will be available on our old streaming setup. We're working on a deal to be with them, but that's not the reason we're on YouTube today. We've been having an audio sync issue last season and the start of this year that we could not nail down. In some absolute bonkers testing I did yesterday, I discovered it's because something's going wrong on its way to Hudl, and then it distributes that way to Facebook and YouTube. It isn't happening when I send to YouTube. Before the show, I tried to simultaneously stream. I could not do that. So we're on YouTube. We'll upload to Hudl for everybody to be able to watch there. But the point being, we're going to have to figure this one out. And if we can't come to an agreement with Hudl, we'll be on YouTube anyway. But if you're wondering why the change, that's the reason. Again, help us out at buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville. Any help there would be greatly appreciated. We appreciate those who have signed on as of so far, and we look forward to more of you signing on in the days, weeks, and months to come. And with that, we sign off with Virginia Wesleyan, Johns Hopkins, Wisconsin Lutheran, and Calvin, our guest today. Thanks to Dave Macedo, Rodney Rogan, Klay Knueppel, and Bill Saul, also known as William Saul. Thanks to their time. Thanks to their sports information directors as well for their assistance in getting our segments on the air today. We'll be back Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time with another edition of Hoopsville. Lots to talk about in Division III, so I couldn't even tell you who we might have on the docket, but we'll work on some good guests for you. And in the meantime, if you are a coach who wants to get by the way, if you want a donation to us that doesn't go through buymeacoffee.com, get in touch with me. We do have Venmo and some other avenues that you can get. And if you're a coach who wants to see if you can send us some swag and or get a jersey on the wall, get in touch with me. We'll let you know how you can do that as well. Thanks to everybody watching. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Pat Coleman and Ryan Scott for their contributions as well. And we'll look forward to talking to all of you on Monday. You've been listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. From the WBCA studios, you all enjoy what should be an absolutely awesome weekend of basketball, as always, in Division III. And we'll look forward to catching up with you on Monday. Have a good one, everybody.